So how many of you guys were here last year when I came in to give a little action? Okay, I have a flow. So I'm gonna just walk you, for those of you who weren't, please bear with me for some of the guys that know this, but my background is very simple. In the States, the majority of people who have money, pretty much, historically are upper middle class, kind of white families, just because of the way that historically the country came about. And so for the 90% of the population, really more, who happen to be of color, who happen to come from immigrant families and so forth, you're left with the rest of it. You're left with working, what we call blue collar jobs. My mom was a custodian, my pops was a presser and a dry cleaner. They were not exposed to careers, they had jobs. And so as a result, growing up, it was just moving around a lot. It was my parents doing everything they can to put some food on the table. Anyway, the reason I offer that context is because that chip on my shoulder, growing up, the way we did, placed a massive chip on, I had something to prove. I was like a really, how if someone's very short, they just have a Napoleon complex, they're like, yeah, what's up? And they want to size up to everyone because they have that chip on their shoulder. Well, I had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, well, fuck you. I know that I amount to more than my present conditions. I know that. But what happens when you have something in your mind, but it's not yet a physical reality? That is where all the magic happens. When you have something in your mind, but it's not yet physically evident, that is where all the friction occurs. That's where all the growth occurs. That's where all your challenges occur. And it's easy for, people say seeing is believing. That's super fucking easy. Someone to say, oh yeah, once you're a famous designer, yeah, I believed in Tommy Hilfiger all along. But everyone goes through a period in which it's just you, yourself, and your thoughts. So anyway, I start with that because that was my situation. I stepped into the real world with that lens of, I know I'm gonna do something. I don't care what it was. I didn't. I was in school to be a jazz musician. I wanted to be the best jazz musician in the world. That was my thing. And I was playing 8 hours a day, every day, all day, listening to Miles Davis, listening to all these cats play, and that was my current outlet. But it doesn't matter what your outlet is. It's just about putting the spirit and the craftsmanship into that vehicle and growing it. Now, I happened to find work as a doorman. So I live in New York City, and in New York City if you go to the really nice neighborhoods, there's usually a guy in a suit with a hat whose only job is to open the door when residents come in and open the door when residents come out. That is your only job. You have to look good, wear a suit, and open the fucking door. That's it. That's all anyone expects of you. So anyway, that's what I did. I found a job. I was lucky enough to find a job doing that. Some people wouldn't consider that a prestigious job, but my friends, more often than not, there's so much value and opportunity in doing the things that people don't necessarily perceive as valuable, but the key is you have to do it with a different lens. With a totally different lens, because there were other doormen who had been there for years. It's now been 7 years since I worked the door, and I've been fortunate that I've been able to focus and achieve a good amount of stuff. And I go and I visit that building, and the same doormen are still there. Now, I'm not gonna knock them because everyone has different situations. Maybe they are, putting food on the table for their kids or what have you, but the point is, they didn't see it differently. They saw it as opening and closing a door. I saw it as, I have access to people here.